So this is what the side panel of a bra looks like. This line here is where the side of the cup would attach, the curve of the cup. Here's the strap that goes along the bottom, and this is the one that attaches on the side. And here's your back strap. And this is how I made it. This was my prototype for this, and I just used marker. I'm not going to use this on the costume because this marker is water-based and it would just it would just bleed through. So, but this was just my prototype, and you take your grosgrain ribbon and you lay it along the edges because that's the part that needs to be reinforced. And then this here in the middle, it's just fabric because, you know, it's just a little additional stiffness by having a little fabric. But this is just plain old cotton. It's like a lining material that I happen to have in the house. It's nothing special. And when I make the side straps for the bra, this will also be covered in my 2 layers of decorative fabric. And, you know, I would take my cotton stuff and my grosgrain ribbon, and if I desired for extra stiffness, I could even fill this whole thing in with interfacing, this really thick stuff, interfacing. But I don't need it to be that thick. I don't need it to be very stiff. I chose not to make it as stiff. But if I wanted to, I could make it stiffer. But anyway, that's how you make it. And you sew it all. I would zigzag stitch this in place and zigzag stitch this in place. And then I'm ready to cover it in my decorative fabric. And after you cover it in your decorative fabric, then you hand stitch it to the bra cups. And you can see I have 2 side straps that I made in this method. And I line them up with how they were supposed to be lined up with the cups. And then I hand stitch them to the cups. And I stitch them in such a way to make this sort of as seamless as possible. You know, I tried to get really close to the edge, but, you know, because this is the underwire, you can't really sew through the underwire, so it's to the outside of the underwire that I hand stitch that, which with what I call the chain stitch. And that's what it looks like. It's pretty. Now, I used some of the patterns that were in this suit fabric to kind of accentuate what the shape of the bra. Let form follow function. And let's talk about this center connector. As I said before, I was going to use some grosgrain ribbon, and I just sort of doubled it up, and I wanted a little more stiffness in this, so this is actually grosgrain ribbon wrapped around some interfacing. It's just one thing of interfacing. I could have made it more stiff, but that's what I chose to do, just 1 layer of grosgrain. And that's what's holding my 2 cups together. Each cup is sewn directly to this center strap. And then sewn directly to the center strap is a circle of interfacing that's been covered in the crinkle satin. And then once it was covered in the crinkle satin, I sewed my metal medallion on, and this is what the metal medallion looks like before it's sewn on. And then I took some pearls, some big ones and some small ones, and I strung them on thread. I sewed through the medallion here and then strung the stuff on, you know, hanging the thread up, strung them on, and then I kind of laid them around it and kind of tried to pin them in place. It was actually easier with the pins to go straight through the double threads between pearls. I couldn't really get them to go in this way. I just couldn't get them to stay. And then with another needle and thread, I looped around every other pearl to kind of hold them in place. So there's thread going through the pearls to kind of keep them in line with each other. And then there's thread going around the strands of pearls in even intervals to attach it to the outside of my little medallion thing. And it's pretty, I think. And once I've gotten more of this structure put together, I think I'll also stitch it down to either side of the cup to keep it from rotating, because though I have a couple stitches throughout here, it's only really pinned to that center connector right in the center. So it's it can easily rotate, and I don't really want it to be able to rotate. I want it to definitely always have this on the very bottom and for it to be centered. And then there's the top straps, and as I said before, I was going to use the O-rings that came with the bra, and I took my grosgrain ribbon and folded it in half lengthwise so that it's only half as wide. And zigzag stitched that, and then I covered it in what for me is a flesh tone peach satin. Kind of all the fabrics that I could find, it was the closest to my own skin color. I use this also on my gold bedla. The whole thing is made out of peach satin. And my intention is to cover this with pearls so that it looks like, you know, when this is on me, you probably, hopefully won't notice the peach satin. You'll just notice the pearls. So that's what it looks like. And I think I'm ready to start decorating it. But when I was trying it on, you use some clamps, some little like rubber tipped clamps to kind of hold it onto yourself. I'm not going to actually put my hook and eyes in until after it's lined. So temporarily you kind of just sort of have a friend safety pin you in or have a friend hold it for you just so you can check the fit and make sure that everything fits the way you want it to before you start decorating. All right.